Oh yeah, the media is finally covering this. I can't believe it took them so long.
Mysterious order coming from the U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth. He has summoned hundreds of top U.S. generals and admirals to a meeting in Quantico, Virginia on Tuesday. The senior military officers will be coming from around the world, but no one seems to know why. None of the officers are admirals or generals. The White House is dismissing the intrigue. Listen.
Well, I'll be there if they want me, but why is that such a big deal? I mean, the fact that we're getting along with the generals and admirals from all, remember, I'm the president of peace. It's good to get along. It's good. You act like this is a bad thing. Isn't it nice that people are coming from all over the world to be with us?
It's not particularly unusual that generals...
He's just, dude, he's just a senile great. He doesn't understand anything that's going on. He has no fucking idea what's happening right now. Oh, a bunch of people are coming from all over the world to come to America. Isn't that great? All of our big boys. All of our big boys are showing up. Yeah.
Who report to the Secretary of War and then to the President of the United States are coming to speak with the Secretary of War. It's actually not unusual at all, and I think it's odd that you guys have made it into such a big story.
One official
it's extremely unusual.
Joke that it's being called the General Squid Games, but not everyone is laughing. In May, Hegseth ordered the Defense Department to cut the number of four-star generals and admirals by at least 20%. Let's discuss this and more with the former Deputy Pentagon Press Secretary and CNN political and global affairs commentator Sabrina Singh. She's here with me in the Situation Room. Sabrina, you heard very clearly the President and the Vice President, J.D. Vance, attempting to downplay this very unusual in-person meeting of hundreds of senior military officials being told, come to Quantico, Virginia for this meeting. They don't know what the meeting is about. What's your reaction to this Hegseth order?
Well, it's highly unusual. We've not seen through many secretaries of defense over the years, from Gates to Panetta under Secretary Austin, we've never seen a meeting like this convened. And what Hegseth is doing is basically pulling back from 1 to 4 stars. That's approximately 800 people all around the world from their different missions and combatant commands to Virginia for a meeting that no one knows what it's about.
It is extremely weird. I know that we're not in any, like, active boots on the ground wars right now, but our military officials do actually do a lot of stuff. Like listen, the Pentagon does not manage to spend like $1 trillion every year doing nothing. We have people and operations all over the world, and a lot of them are relatively banal, right? I mean, a lot of them are just like upkeeping bases or maintaining local relations, securing the safety of certain areas, like we have promissaries. There's a lot of just like very basic stuff. So pulling a bunch of high-ranking officers from all over the world, disrupting those operations is a pretty big deal. A little bit foreboding. There was this tweet. In July 1935, German generals were called to a surprise assembly in Berlin and informed that their previous oath to the Weimar Constitution was void and they would be required to swear a personal oath to the Führer. Most generals took the new oath to keep their positions, to which Hegseth quote tweeted, "Cool story, General." So that's the level we're operating on here. The Secretary of Defense went and found that tweet on twitter.com, which doesn't even have that many likes, and decided to specifically highlight it by responding to it. So that's cool.
On top of that, it's the day of the shutdown, September 30th, and it's going to be an incredibly costly meeting to have all these people literally drop everything that they're doing to come to Virginia for something that we don't even know.
There are secure ways to have a virtual conference call with these military officers without forcing them to come all the way to Quantico, Virginia.
Absolutely. I mean, Secretary Hegseth and all the combatant commands and their deputy commanders and other generals or admirals under them all have access to secure video conferencing. This could certainly be done virtually or remote. I mean, again, you're pulling people from priority theaters like the Indo-Pacific or European Command to come back for a meeting that we really have no details on, and something, like you said, could not only be done virtually, but would save taxpayers money instead of flying everyone in for something that we just have.
Dog, who fucking cares whether it saves taxpayers money? Why are they holding a gigantic all-hands meeting with no reason given
No details on.
And we have no information on what this meeting is going to be all about. We shall see when it unfolds. On the same day that the meeting is supposed to take place in Quantico, a deadline is in place for Pentagon reporters to sign a pledge demanded by Secretary Hegseth, saying reporters with a Pentagon credential not obtain or use unauthorized material in their reporting, even if the information is totally unclassified, and reporters can lose their credentials and access to the Pentagon if they violate this. News agencies are gearing up for a major legal battle. This is a subject close to my heart. I'm a former Pentagon correspondent. We're not supposed to be stenographers for the U.S. military. The only thing that they want, this current administration, is for reporters to report what's out there in formal public Pentagon press releases and not do any serious reporting on subjects that the Pentagon doesn't necessarily want the American people to know about. This is outrageous.
I think you captured it.
I'm more surprised by the lack of information given the incompetence of the admin. If nothing else, I think it basically confirms that we're not going to war. We're not doing anything like real, because that information would have leaked already. It would have leaked immediately. This is probably going to be a Hitler oath kind of thing. They're going to be doing like DEI tests or something, you know? They're going to be fucking SpongeBob Goofy Goober song. Pete Hegseth is going to line them all up and march in front of them saying, you know, increasingly transphobic shit. See which one of them, like which one of their faces twitch first and they get shot. I'm going to do that until they cut the number of top-line generals in half. All bubble-blowing babies will be beaten senseless.
Just so pointedly, it's not only outrageous, it's deeply concerning. I mean, freedom of the press is what distinguishes the United States from other countries around the world who try and choke information off.
Not anymore.
From the press. And you know that building, the press, I mean, while you can have contentious relationships sometimes, and certainly when I was there, we disagreed on stories, but press have free reign of the Pentagon and can go to any single floor and ask the questions because the Pentagon and the Department of Defense is so big. You need that type of access. And so to really choke off information, it's going to come at the detriment to Secretary Hegseth. I don't think any news organization or serious reporter is going to sign this pledge because at the end of the day, you're not going to be able to report just on information just given to you by the Pentagon. You know this, CNN has done incredible reporting and exposed stories to the public's eye, whether it was on Iraq and weapons of mass destruction to the withdrawal of Afghanistan. And
yeah, dude, that's so fucking true. CNN was famously really fucking really credible when it came to the early days of the war in Iraq. That's fucking true. Go back. You could go look that up, by the way. Feel free to go look at some CNN broadcasts from 2003 to see what tone this network took, how investigative they were.
can always see to eye to eye.
Why would you bring that up? Jesus. They're like this every fucking time, man. The way they were with Iraq, the way they were with Afghanistan, the way they were after October 7th. Every time this network, all American major news networks fall in line to with the Pentagon.
Important that the public have the facts.
Certainly important, and I don't think any serious journalist would ever sign a document like that promising to report only what the Pentagon says you can report publicly. It's really outrageous. All right, Sabrina, thank you.
Yeah, I'm sure that's the most outrageous thing to you guys, because it threatens your fucking jobs.
Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth has ordered hundreds of top military leaders to gather at a Marine Corps base.
We love our Morning Joe, don't we?
Base in Virginia next week. It's not clear why the meeting has been called. More than a dozen people familiar with the matter telling the Washington Post the directive was sent to nearly every top U.S. military commander around the world. That includes officials in conflict zones stationed throughout Europe, the Middle East.
Well, at least they're saying publicly they won't go along with it. You believe them? Buddy, all they said was no serious journalist would sign this. Yeah, they will. Otherwise, they'll lose their press credentials. And then they can't be a fucking Pentagon correspondent anymore. Then they won't have a job, and they won't be able to continue living in fucking D.C. in an expensive loft.
East and the Asia Pacific region. According to the Post, every source it spoke with said it could not recall a defense secretary ever ordering such a large gathering of military leaders on such short notice. Joining us now, retired U.S. Army Lieutenant General Mark Hartman.
That's how I keep my principles, by the way. I don't live in a loft. I live in like a modest apartment. If I lived in a loft, I would sell out any principal that I had to be able to keep living there. I wouldn't give a shit. Trump puts out EO saying that any leftist advocacy, like they'll be like the FCC will be investigating any social media platforms that platform leftist content. I'm going down the Alex Jones road the next day, brother. Gonna shave me a Hitler mustache. Gonna start talking about how I'm getting real tired of all the trans pink dots in chat, always derailing stream with their degeneracy. Oh, it's gonna happen overnight if I keep the loft. That's why I stay out of the loft, you know? Are lofts morally degenerate? I do. Don't they sound morally corrosive? A loft? Like a loft is a place you would sell your soul to keep living in. An apartment, that's just a place you live. A loft. Yeah, that's very dangerous. Very dangerous.
And President Emeritus of the Council on Foreign Relations, Richard Haas. Good morning to you both. General, I'll start with you. First of all, how unusual is this in
Isn't it fucking crazy that in America we're all conditioned to accept it's normal for left-leaning news organizations to have all their correspondents be former employees of the organizations that they're looking into? Like, why is it exactly that your military correspondents are former generals? Like, isn't that weird? Like, do you really think a former general, somebody who's proud of their service, would be able to do a journalist's work in that field? It's not just a U.S. thing? No, probably not, though I have a feeling we're pretty bad with it. The American military-industrial complex is the largest in the world, so... They're not reporters, though. Seems like a guest expert. They operate like interchangeably with reporters, functionally. I mean, they're called upon to give their opinion and to provide breaking news. I guess they're not handling like the reporting end, I suppose. They're doing the punditry. Maybe reporter's the wrong word then. Yeah, not the reporting end, but they're operating as like media pundits on behalf of the organization that they're meant to be, you know, investigating or looking into or commenting on. Former war crimes expert on latest Middle East conflict. Yeah, I guess that's what I would have done. Yeah, that literally happens, dude. That literally every day. Every day you go on MSNBC, CNN, ABC, NBC, Fox, whatever, and there's some guy there who used to be a 3-star general talking about how, you know, well, back in the day, that's what we did. So they love that shit.
Experience, and what do you suspect is going on here?
Yeah, Willie, if this is usual and this is unusual, we're way out in terms of unusual in this one. It is never, that I know of, ever occurred in the history.
I really appreciated that little, like, graphic that he did to assist in his explanation. That's probably what you have to do if you're a general, right? If you're communicating with people at the Pentagon. All right, listen up, guys, okay? If this is good and this is bad, we're talking something that's more like over here, basically. Like it's more towards the bad side. Okay. Yes, sir!
Of the military, where everyone is brought in. Now, certainly during wartime, generals commanding in a theater are brought in individually with their team, or the president or the secretary of defense visits them at their theater of operation. But I've never seen anything like this before, and it just seems extremely bizarre and strange.
Well, General, let me just ask you strategically, how stupidly dangerous is this?
It's pretty dangerous, Joe. What I'd say is, you know, a lot of people are looking at it from the general's perspective, them thinking, what the heck are we going to hear? Because I don't think from what I've talked to some of my colleagues that are still active, they don't know what this is about. So it could be about a shifting national security strategy. It could be cuts to the General Officer Corps. Secretary Hegseth has mentioned that several times. It could be about the upcoming budget stalemate, or it could be concerns over information leaks or press leaks.
But General,
it got leaked that Hegseth is doing the meeting to yell at them about warrior ethos. Oh my God, is he gonna nut check all of them? Oh my God, from WAPO, so it's probably true. He's gonna nut check the entire fucking officer corps. Oh my God. Ordered hundreds of generals to travel on short notice to hear him make a short speech in military standards about the warrior ethos. They are going to fucking toss a grenade into his office, man. Why would you do this? Basically, like, this is ensuring every single person at the Pentagon despises you. If this was some kind of Hitlerite purge, that would be one thing, okay? Hitler's going to do what Hitler's going to do, okay? This just guarantees everybody at the Pentagon despises you. This is really funny. Easy W for us. Yeah, this is a good thing. This rules. Yeah, I'm here for this. Absolutely. Fucking warrior ethos. Remember him doing pull-ups with RFK Jr.? He's next to a 70-year-old man who's repping them in jeans, and he's like he's lunging his legs up to get the momentum on the final one. Somebody at Fox News hates his ass. I don't know why they used that cut. That was crazy. Generals love a former low-ranking officer goober yelling at them about warrior ethos. Yeah, there's nothing they love more than somebody dressed like a clown, 30 years their junior, with no meaningful military command experience, a former Fox News host, nut-checking everyone and yelling about how, like, we used to be kings or whatever. We was crusaders. We was crusaders! He's showing off his, like, fucking cross tattoo, that Nazi shit he's got in his chest. This rules. Did you pick up the X years their junior from the Sean video? Guy who's only heard of a common phrase from a recent BreadTube video. I think this live stream is giving me real recent BreadTube video vibes. No, it's okay. We all learn about Mentos and Coke. Like, we all learn about it for the first time eventually. It's still on my watch list. It's kind of boring. Yeah, but you watch my streams. So, like, who are you to say? The orders were delivered without any stated reason, sending staff scrambling to make travel arrangements, many of whom will be coming in from commands that are focused on the world's global conflict. Do they even have enough planes? It's not as though senior officers can fly on public planes. Like, do they even, like, not all of these bases have military the 2- and 3-star generals are having to ask 4-star generals to give them a lift to get to Washington because there are not enough VIP planes to transport them. It's really bad. There is a non-zero chance that Hegseth doesn't make it out of this meeting alive, okay? One of these people has to have bad... Everyone cramped in the fucking commuter private military jet so they can go get yelled at by a drunk retard in Virginia. Oh, man. I love soy fascism. I love soy fascism. I love liberal fascism. They keep trying to do things that feel like what Hitler would have done, but they can't quite. Look, it's to our benefit, okay? We want the Pentagon on our side. The more the Pentagon hates Trump, the better. And keep in mind, the Pentagon has always hated Trump. The Pentagon has, for the most part, I'm speaking very generally here, the Pentagon leadership, for the most part, historically, has been fairly serious, competent people. Again, speaking generally, not every example. Certainly, they're not the kind of guy who likes Trump, right? Like, if you graduated from West Point, you've spent your entire life folding socks into a perfect square, and you have, like, genuine opinions on the appropriate state of cleanliness of every hallway that you walk through, you probably aren't a big fan of Trump and his, like, doddering, incoherent, openly criminal, neglectful, fucking, like, theater drama critic ass. The Pentagon has always hated Trump. After January 6th, the Pentagon basically worked with Pelosi and a few other top officials at the White House to run the government without Trump. You guys know that? After January 6th, after that was resolved, they were basically like, okay, Trump, you're on the backbench. They effectively did a soft coup. After Jan 6th, they were like, well, he can't be president after that, you know? We don't know all the details. We just know that a bunch of people, including people over at the Pentagon afterwards, worked together to sort of, like, you know, paper over his absence. They put him on voicemail. They had a special voicemail for him when he called. That's so fucking funny. Anyway, the more this administration does to earn the hatred of the Pentagon, the better off we all are. But can Hegseth just replace the generals? Yeah, but he can't replace all the generals. That's the problem, right? It's the same problem that they're having with the administrative state. Remember, the plan from the Heritage Foundation was to eliminate, like, 90% or whatever of the federal workforce. Right now, you know what they're doing? They're hiring back many federal workers that they fired during the Doge purges. They basically just gave those fuckers a paid vacation because they couldn't fire them immediately without giving them a severance pay. So that's the problem. You can fire some people. You can't actually fire all people. Pence literally usurped Trump to order the military to defend D.C. Yep. And now Pence goes around defending Trump, and Trump got elected president again, and Merrick Garland didn't... Seriously! Jan 6 was so bad that there was a soft coup behind the scenes, and Merrick Garland looked at that, was like, we'll let the court of public opinion decide. Like, one of the most evil, like, unimaginably horrible person. No amount of hate directed at him is sufficient. He would be in Nuremberg too, 100%. Absolutely. Why didn't he do anything? The same fucking reason Ford pardoned Nixon. Because at the end of the day, it's a big club and you're not in it. It's considered inappropriate by people who have a vested interest in the institutions of this country and want to see them preserved, to have powerful people held to account for their misbehavior. That's it. It wasn't ideology, I guess. At least it wasn't in the sense that he agreed with Trump. It was that the prevailing... It's like the rule of aristocracy, right? No matter how much an aristocrat fucks up, the peasantry never gets to kill them. Common rule in like all societies, you know? If an aristocrat fucks up, it doesn't matter how bad the fuck up was. The sentence has to be delivered by the king or the emperor or another aristocrat. The mob never gets to make that call. And they'll always defend their own against the mob before they'll start weeding out their own to throw them at the mob. It's always more distasteful. What about the French? What are you talking about? Do you think the French Revolution was carried out by the aristocracy? What are you talking about? You're just mentioning shit. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. It was done by bourgeois, or by the bourgeoisie. Alternate timeline? God. Can you imagine if Merrick Garland properly prosecuted everyone necessary and Milley was elevated to like a General Zhukov-style parallel executive leader under Biden? Oh my God. Sir. He's a good guy. We would never hear the end of it from the right. I have a feeling you wouldn't be hearing anything from the right, actually. They would all be dead. I didn't say that! Because they would all be happy. Because once their material needs were met by communist utopia, they wouldn't be right-wing anymore. Yay! Yippee! Genuine question, why do you plan on voting for whatever establishment time they run in 2028? Why do people keep asking me this? Why do people keep asking me, am I still vote blue no matter who? We are more than 3 years out from the next presidential election. Why do people keep asking me this? Why do I have to keep getting subjected to this do you condemn Hamas ass fucking test? I don't know. Okay, right now it feels like the Democrats are, you know, the Republicans are twisting the scrot and the Democrats are pulling the crank. All right, I'm a little upset. Give me a little bit of time to think it out. Being run by Democrats, at least in this environment, will always be better than being run by Republicans. But right now, in the state the Democratic Party is in, they are like so much a part of the problem that preemptively pledging my vote to them seems irresponsible. Like, they hate us, man. The most promising Democratic candidate they're pitching at us right now, genuinely, is a guy who brought Charlie Kirk on earlier this year on a podcast he created to agree with the right. That's who they've got. What about Pritzker? Stop asking me about Pritzker. Maybe Pritzker should do something that I give a fuck about. Everyone keeps asking me about Pritzker. What about Pritzker? Yeah, ask Pritzker about me. Hey, Pritzker, do you wanna show up on a controversial live streamers show? Do you want to get asked like probing questions by a person in a way that would only be a political liability to you? Pritzker defended autistics. I love him. I would never. Mr. Pritzker, what do you think of Silk Song? It's fucked up. You know what's fucked up? There is no way Mamdani's had time to play Silk Song. Dude is way too busy. Gavin Newsom just had Atrioc on a show. You have a chance to get on it too. Isn't Atrioc a liberal? Dude, I don't want to... I have nothing positive to say to or about Gavin Newsom. The only reason you guys like Gavin Newsom is because of his fucking... the secretary that he hired to run his press release Twitter account. He's not even doing it himself. Like, it's unironically frustrating that you guys keep glazing Newsom. I have no idea why you're doing it. Genuinely, I have no idea what your motivations are for doing it. There's no way any of you can possibly believe, like, looking into him and looking into what he's done and what from his personality to his policies on every level, and seriously think this guy is going to pull us out of the death spiral we're in. We're falling down into a pit of hell right now, and Gavin Newsom's best solution to that problem would be maybe if we fell slightly slower, we would placate the people who want us to fall faster. Like, he is not the solution. I think people are just desperate for anyone who appears to be pushing back, and he's not the guy. You know why? Because he shut the fuck up after Charlie Kirk got murked. That's why. Because when Charlie Kirk was assassinated by some politically incoherent nutjob in Utah, he stopped posting, or had his secretary stop posting, put out a press release about, you know, how he and his favorite podcast guest both believed in freedom of speech and blah, blah, blah. No, the fuck Charlie Kirk didn't. Fuck you. I'm not saying that I expect a future potential presidential candidate to, like, gloat about Charlie Kirk or whatever, but the idea that you have to, like, enable the right by you know, engaging in this ridiculous, disingenuous, semantic bullshit game of pretending that he valued liberal democracy and free speech. After Kirk got shot, Pritzker immediately blamed Trump. Yeah, at least Pritzker seems to be, like, an actually good person. You know who else had a good take on that? Warren. Warren did a good job with that.